not many sports where you have every generation, all generations that can play all at the same time. We can't be any prouder. Like I can't explain it any other way. That we are all so proud of a tiny island with a few number of people with the knowledge of how well we do on these international tournaments. It's not just play, it's chat as well. It's not as quick as we would all have wanted to be back at the Jeffrey Centre. So I can't give a timeline of when we'll be back. We all want to be back in the Jeffrey Centre. Next year, it is our turn to host the secondaries, the senior schools tournament. So big challenge.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Jersey table tennis president Eleni Middleton. How are we doing?
Hiya, how are you?
Good, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. What I want to ask first of all, I kind of ask this to all my guests straight off the bat. Is what's your kind of sporting background growing up, and have you always been into sport?
So it's an interesting question because I don't actually, and I start off the bat, like you said, no pun intended, even though I love a pun.
Yeah.
I don't actually play table tennis.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sporty. I enjoy sports. I enjoy movement, but I wouldn't say I have any sport in particular other than loving being in the water, which obviously is not table tennis. So it's a very strange reason why I'm involved with table tennis. But generally, my sport is swimming and cycling. Actually,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
nice. So, where did the table tennis come into your life? And when did you first find
Yeah.
table tennis?
So we moved to Jersey with my family about 6 years ago, in 2018. Our daughter was 6 years old at the time. And my husband and I wanted our daughter to be active, and we wanted her to, come away from the screen, most of the things that parents want for their children.
Yeah.
And so we were walking around. We used to live near FB Fields. So we went for a walk one day and we came across the posters that the JTTA had posted around for Bat and Chat, which is one of our most successful sessions we'll talk about after. So I said, oh, well, I wonder what that means. So we went along to one of the sessions, and our daughter just fell in love with it. And we thought, yeah, why not? We'll give it a go. And nearly 6 years later, she now plays for Jersey. So, yeah.
Incredible. Did she enjoy the sport straight away? Was she in love straight away?
Yeah. And she still can't put her finger on it. Why, what it was. I think it was I think she liked the fact that it was technical, and I also think she liked the fact that it was quiet. It wasn't people shouting, and it was quiet, and she likes that kind of, because she's quite artistic as well. I think it suited her character. So yeah, and obviously another important reason for us was also that it was near where we lived, so we didn't have to get the car, we didn't have to get the bus, we just walked there. And I think that's a very big. There's a lot of research around this, isn't there, with sports, that the closer you are to a sports activity, the more likely you are to continue with it in your life. So, and there's books written about it as well. So we definitely think that was a contributing factor.
Yeah. A question I want to ask. Obviously, you said you moved to the island. How good is sport in a way to find new friends for your daughter and also for yourself?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I can't speak too much about it because I will cry. The Jersey Table Tennis Association is not just an association; it's a family, hands down. I don't care how cheesy it sounds; it's a family. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, everyone was extremely welcome. From the coaches to the committee to the older players to the younger players. And it is one of the very, very few sports that I know, and I'm not a specialist, but I'm old enough now to know that there are, there's not many sports where you have every generation, all generations that can play all at the same time. So yeah, extremely, extremely important. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We'll come on to that kind of range of people involved in it and playing it in a bit, but a bit about yourself and how you kind of, obviously you're president now, but how did that come about over the years, and how involved have you been over the years?
So I remember one, I think it was 2 years ago. There was a trip, the first ever trip of our girls team to Guernsey for the primary schools international, where for the first time in 17 years, four girls were. So we had a big enough team to have a team to go to Guernsey to represent the island on a very prestigious, for this age group, international primary schools tournament. So our four girls from Jersey went over to Guernsey with the team. The mothers went along as well, because we didn't know what to expect. And as I was sitting there on the sidelines watching the girls compete, behaving really professionally, I was like, wow, who are these girls? Like, I'd seen them every day in Jersey train, but I'd not seen them at this tournament level. So and as I was sitting there, and when you reflect, you realize certain things only when you're quiet and you reflect. And I thought to myself, this would not have been possible for none of our girls if it wasn't for the volunteers and the volunteer coaches, the volunteers on the committee, and all of the volunteers that get involved with our sport, but most of our sports in Jersey. And so I was sitting next to Paul Routier, who was our most people know Paul Routier, MBE. He's one of my mentors, somebody I look up to. And I just had a casual conversation. I said, "Oh, Paul, so what happens with on the committee, and what can we do? How can we help? I'm sitting here whilst my child is training. Can I help?" And he said, and I could see like his eyes kind of lit up. I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
Yeah.
And so Paul said, "Oh well, we'll talk again." And he kind of remembered our conversation and remembered what that myself and a couple of other parents were keen to be involved. And when Paul was stepping down as president last year, he asked around. He said, "Who is interested?" I knew there was the post was vacant, and I thought I had to do it because no one. The other thing is, no one else was was interested. Well, thought they could do it justice. It was a very scary moment. I said, "Yes, I'll do it." I was a president of an educational setting, a charitable educational setting in England, so I understood a little bit about AGMs and committees and charitable settings, which is what we are as well. We're a charity. So yeah, so that's how I got the job. And it's been, we're coming up to our AGM. Our AGM is in 20 days' time on the 10th of July. I'm staying for one more year, I said. And yeah, it's been a very strange, happy, sad, exciting year.
Yeah, I bet it's been a whirlwind, and
Yeah.
we've gone to some of the reasons during this podcast, but one side of the sport obviously is the competitive side, and table tennis is flourishing, I would say, with young talent and
Mm-hmm.
in the men's and the women's side of things. So how exciting is that? And one thing I definitely want to pick up on, because a lot of people would have watched and followed you guys, is the Island Games and that real team spirit amongst it. How
Yeah.
how good was that week?
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to go, but if we had a slot for Paul Routier to give a bit of a description during the podcast, I think he would do it more justice than I do. But I know that even for us here in Jersey, we watched on YouTube with bated breath. I think some of us took time off work to be available to, and we were glued to our screen. We can't be any prouder. Like I can't explain it any other way. That we are all so proud of a tiny island with a few number of people with the knowledge of how well we do on these international tournaments.
Yeah.
It's like I can't say it enough times that we put the hard work in and it pays off because we stand against people, countries that have so much more resource into sport. I'm not going to go too far, but England, they have so much resource. They get lottery funding, for example. We don't get any of that. This
Yeah.
is like all Jersey volunteers and very few paid hours, paid performance coach hours. The rest of it is sheer determination from our coaches and our players.
Yeah.
And the parents making loads of packed lunches and food at home and making sure they go to bed on time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. And how good is the community among, obviously, there's a few who have gone to England and UK to train, but
Hmm.
how good is it at the club as well?
So yeah, so the for the ones that have gone to England to train, I mean, Luke and Hannah, I speak to regularly, and especially Luke because he's around at the moment, and he's doing his summer sessions. This the open, during the school holidays. Luke is here and he's delivering a number of summer sessions. So they what is lovely to see is that they still want when they come back to Jersey, because obviously they train really hard in their academies in England. When they come to Jersey, they come back. Literally, they land and they go and say hi to mum and dad, and they go straight from home, straight to table tennis.
Yeah.
And everybody's really happy to see them, and they get cracking again. They get stuck in helping the younger ones, giving the older ones a bit of a run for their money as well. Um, yeah, and of course, when they're here, they're treated like royalty. I'm not joking. I mean, I remember the girls and some of the younger girls and the boys when Hannah was winning all those medals. They were really shy. They didn't want to bother her, and they were like, "Hi, Hannah, well done," and it was all really shy. And then when they got the opportunity to have a knock with Hannah, oh my gosh, it was a massive deal. They had to all have their hair done. They had to be ready, and it's lovely. It's just lovely to see.
Yeah, yeah. That's the question that I wanted to come on to next. And
Mm,
obviously, Hannah Silcock is doing incredible.
incredible.
What, what,
Yeah,
what she's doing is incredible.
yeah.
But how much do you want to kind of use her success to encourage and promote the female side of the sport as well?
Well, it's something that I've kind of said from the beginning. That was one of my biggest challenges, I suppose, on the island. But because generally women, and especially once you hit the teenage years, there's a massive dropout. I mean, Serena talks about it much more eloquently than I do. Serena of handball. Handball? It's not handball,
Netball,
is it?
netball.
Netball. I don't know why I said handball. She speaks much more eloquently than I do about it because she's been in it for much longer than me. Um, and it's not only the introduction for girls into the sport, but the retention of girls in the sports. That's a big deal. But I'm hopeful that because we are all talking about it, mothers, grannies, aunties, cousins, we are all talking about it. Um, I'm hoping that this new generation of girls won't give up at teenage years or are less likely to give up in teenage years. And something that I say quite frequently is my generation, growing up in a Mediterranean country, we were told you have to study. We were told homework is God, and you will sit at your desk and finish your homework. And forget about physical activity. Forget about sports because you're not clever if you just do sport. And actually, as not it can't be any further than the truth. You need both. You need education and you need activity, and they go hand in hand. So, and if that is one thing that we can teach our young girls, and for the older women, to tell ourselves we have to move ourselves, we have to move our bodies every day, even if it's, a 10-minute walk, we've moved our body, because it helps this afterwards. It's not just the physical, it's the mental.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
and you said about when Hannah comes back and she helps out as well. How good has she been? Obviously, incredible when she's competing, but helping this next generation, those younger than her, and really encouraging and giving them tips as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So Hannah comes, the last time Hannah was here, I think it was a couple of weeks, it was just before the Inter-Insular Guernsey. So she came to the sessions and she said, right, she looked at them and said, right, what do you want to work on? And she went straight into the detail. What shall we work on? And she'll ask the athlete, what do they want? What do they think? Because what we believe as well is that the more, if it comes from the athlete, if the athlete says, I need to work on my spins or my backhand or my forehand, then they're more likely to actually focus and get the work done, because it's self-driven as well, self-directed, which again is a very different way of coaching from the one I had when I was a kid. Oh, you do as a coach says, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So, but obviously, let's not forget that Hannah is still competing. So, what I'm saying too, because we're doing a little bit of work in the background around growing our own coaches as well. And it is difficult because I know that some of our teenagers who are very good players also want to coach, but there's a balance to be had, isn't there? That you can't be a coach and a player and do both really well. And if you are focusing on your playing at the moment, then let's focus on that, and don't worry too much about the coaching, because that
yeah,
will come in time. But it's lovely to see that they are keen to coach each other, because they're always learning. Everyone is always learning all of the time anyway.
yeah,
So actually, our performance coach Miguel says to the players that it doesn't matter how young someone is, and it doesn't matter how inexperienced they are. In my case, for example, you can still learn from that person, and so play with them anyway.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you talk about your coaches and you're looking to, or working behind the scenes on helping them develop their coaching. How good have Jersey Sport as well been in supporting that side of things and in supporting the sport as well?
Jersey Sport have been very good in directing us to things like policies and suggesting better ways to manage the club. Anytime I've asked anyone in Jersey Sport any question, they've always been extremely supportive. Some of their workshops have been fantastic for someone new to sports in this capacity. It's been really helpful to even the networking, even hearing what other clubs are doing, what struggles other clubs have, what successes, what makes them successful. Yeah, I mean that even that in itself, even getting us together and organizing those sessions are helpful anyway. So there's definitely great value in what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I agree. What one thing we did want to talk about, and I wanted to learn more about, is the bat and chat sessions.
Oh,
This is more of a social side to the sport and just as important as the competitive side. So just tell
yes.
us a bit more about who's involved there and how long it's been going as well.
Oh, actually, I won't do it justice again because I can't remember how many years it's been going. It has been going for years because obviously I knew about it in 2018. So for sure, it's been going on for longer than that. It's on every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. till 12. And people turn up. It's any ability, they can turn up. And it is run by a couple of our subcommittee members who will welcome you with open arms. I mean, my mum is visiting Jersey at the moment from Greece, and she was invited straight away, come up and play, and she doesn't know how to play. And it is, as you say, it's not just play; it's chat as well. So everybody knows each other, and they have a nice chat. And actually, one of my biggest concerns when Storm Kieran hit our building in November was the bat and chat and the mental impact the storm had on our members, especially around the bat and chat, because some of those members may not be as sociable as someone who has a bigger family or who is still at work. So a lot of the Bat and Chat members happen to be retired. So going to Bat and Chat is their 2 days of going out and seeing their friends and chatting.
Yeah.
So we were really, really keen. The committee was really, really keen to reinstate some play, certainly for the Bat and Chat members. But yeah, it's a great atmosphere. Everybody's welcome, and in fact, one of our mums on the junior chats recently this week has said, "Oh, I have a 22-year-old at home for the summer. Can she come along, please, to the Baton Chat?" And we said, of course, she can come along. This is why it's there for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can talk all day about Baton Chat actually.
How good is it to see their faces, or when you've been and seen what it's all about, and how good is it to see their faces and the
Yeah.
enjoyment that those sessions bring?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I say, it's the community again, but it's also, feeling, because as I say, it's run by volunteers anyway. So the volunteers themselves, that it gives them a sense of purpose. Yes, this Tuesday, Thursday, this is what I'm doing. This is my program. This is my job list. I think there was somebody who had a surgery, and they couldn't wait. In fact, they told the doctor, no, I'm not staying in hospital. I'm not staying in bed. I need to go to Bat and Chat.
Yeah.
And they came and told me, and I was like, are you sure you should be? Are you sure you should be here? Sure you should be back? Yep. I need to be here. I cannot come to Bat and Chat. I don't know, actually. I don't know how much playing they do. I think they chat. No, they do. They do.
Yeah.
They do play as well. Yeah.
No, it sounds incredible, and it sounds really rewarding for them as well.
Yeah.
Just to have that social place to go and each week. I wanted you touch on it a little bit there. Obviously, the hard side of the year was obviously the storm. It hit table tennis hard. How tough was that for you guys, and how's it been since? How's it kind of developed?
I've just written a members update this morning, and it was shared with members. It's not as quick as we would all have wanted to be back at the Jeffrey Centre. So I can't give a timeline of when we'll be back. We all want to be back in the Jeffrey Centre. But Fort Regent have, our current hosts, and I can't praise enough how lovely everybody is at Fort Regent, how accommodating, and nothing is too much trouble. The staff up there are fantastic. So November was hard. November was a hard month. I think it was the shock. Obviously, first of all, it was the shock. I completely underestimated. So I was in the car with my daughter and a few other kids. I think I was taking them to someone's house. I was giving someone a lift, and I didn't think, and I felt really bad afterwards. I apologized to all of them. I drove past FB Fields. I think it was 2 days after the storm when we were able to obviously go outside again, because we weren't, were we? We were told to stay at home. And all of the children in the car, I think I had 4 kids in the car, they all started crying as soon as we drove past. And I thought, oh my God, this is a lot. This is a lot. Like it's really got to them. And as I say, obviously the impact to the older generation, the retired members who need Bat and Chat. Some of them actually, they said to me recently that they go every day. They go every morning, and they do half an hour, 45 minutes. To completely go from that to nothing, it was really big, really hard. It was hard for me as well, because it's a voluntary situation. The money that the association may have is not mine. It's not anyone's, really. It belongs to the association. So it's not like I could go, right, let's throw money into this. Let's throw money into the situation and let's fix it now, today, tomorrow. Let's fix it. So we had it had to be measured, it had to be controlled, it still has to be measured, it still has to be assessed. Every different type of factor has to be discussed and agreed. And it's not just one person's say. It's a whole. It's a team. We're a team. So yeah, but I think, I mean, I can't count how many meetings we had in November, how many emails we exchanged, how many phone calls. I think there was a time when my phone actually got really hot. I had to stop because I was using it so much to make calls to structural engineers, to architects, to Jersey Property Holdings, to colleagues in government. It was pretty horrendous. But then JB's, Josh and the team. I can't forget, you know, what they did for us. And Marcus, they opened the doors to JB's. It was one of the nicest evenings after November. It was one of the nicest evenings that we had when the children and the players, everyone could go to JB's and use the tables and play and see each other again. And I think the BBC came and did an interview, and you could hear in the background everyone was buzzing because they were together again. Yeah, and obviously it was again really sad because we were celebrating our centenary year last year as well. So and we had booked, I think it was 2 weeks after the storm, we had booked our centenary dinner at the Royal Hotel, and we did consider postponing the dinner, but we said, you know what? No, we need it. We need to be together. So the fact that we had that to look forward to, even though obviously it was, you couldn't not mention the issue with the building. It was lovely to have everyone together again to celebrate 100 years in table tennis, with this bitter pill, which is still our roof. So yeah, we are working tirelessly. I think some of us are sitting on the subcommittee for the building. Unfortunately, we don't have architect and structural engineer support on tap. These are very specialist professions, very specific professions, that none of us specialize in. So we've had to find the specialist support. But obviously, my other thing that I was very conscious of from the word go is we've lost a roof to a sports centre. Many people on this island lost roofs to their homes. They should be prioritised. We'll get there. We'll play table tennis again. Let's leave the. Let's wait until people are back in their houses first before we start going, oh, we need to go back in the Jeffrey Centre. So all of these things going on at the same time.
Yeah, well said. It's crazy looking back, and I think you're right that the storm really hit people's personal lives as much as it did the buildings and what have you. So spot on. But last few questions now, looking at the kind of brighter sides and the brighter future, hopefully, in terms of table tennis and how good it is looking, in terms of the talent. How bright? Two kind of questions. How bright is the future, and why should people jump on the table tennis train?
That's a really good question, actually. Thank you for asking. So we have a very exciting calendar coming up. So the end of this month. No, let's forget that. Let's talk about the fact that Hannah Silcock has been chosen to represent England, Jersey, European European level. I mean, I'm not doing it justice because I'm learning sports speak, sports talk. But let's talk about that. How exciting is that? Our Facebook page has more information, has more details about it. So end of June, the team are off to the Isle of Man. We are off to the Isle of Man for the International Senior Schools competition. We have, I think there's about 12 players going, boys and girls. And we have boys and girls in the under 14, under 16, under 17 categories, and we're playing against players, the cream of the crop of the home nations. So, and then we have veterans. I think they're playing in Guernsey in September. And obviously, our divisions, we have Division 1, 2, and 3. They start again in October. And that is there's very competitive table tennis being played there. We're currently reviewing our program of sessions for beginners, beginner juniors, beginner grown-ups, open evenings for members and non-members, and the performance side of the sport. So watch this space on our website, because we are literally tonight are talking about the program and how it's going to work for the summer months and going into the autumn.
Yeah.
And next year it is our turn to host the secondaries, the senior schools tournament. So big challenge, because we hosted the primaries earlier this year, the primary internationals in Jersey, and again, it's all over our social media pages. But that was a very successful tournament, and not only in how it was run, because again, we're a fantastic team of volunteers. It's never down to just one person. Everybody chips in. But for the first time ever in the history of this tournament, we came away with a medal. 4 girls, 4 bronze medals and 1 silver on the plate. So that was a massive success for the club and for girls in sport. So in terms of, because I don't want to forget, in terms of newer newer members, my swimming coach and I were having a conversation only on Monday at the club, talking about, there's a lot of sport for young people and for children. A lot of the sport is geared towards them, and rightly so, obviously rightly so. But there isn't a lot going on around introducing grown-ups to new sports. So that is one thing that I want to plug for this year, and I want to make a big point of on our program, because there aren't enough. So as a grown up, you're told, here's a bat, here's a ball, go and play. But if you don't know how to serve, you're not going to play very successfully, and you'll soon become frustrated and bored that you're not winning any matches, or you can't hit the ball properly, and you're not going to come back. So we are doing a little bit of work on how we can encourage younger adults and adults later on to join us, or to come back, because apparently there's quite a lot of youngsters in Jersey, youngsters younger than me in their 20s, who used to play table tennis, and for one reason or another they've stopped. And I think it's the age-old Jersey problem, I suppose, where people finish school, they go to off island to university, and they come back when they're 22, 23, 24, if they come back. But I know there's quite a lot of people who have come back, which is lovely to hear. We want them to come and sit and join us, because it's a fun sport. I mean, hand-eye coordination. You've got to be on the ball. You've got to be watching that ball. The fitness of it is incredible. People think you're not going to sweat, you just played a bit of table tennis. Trust me, play 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it is, and the other important thing to mention is, especially for the quieter types, the quieter characters, I think it's a quiet sport. You are fit, you're getting the fitness, but it is a quiet sport. If you prefer something a bit more low key, table tennis is your sport as well. But it can be very exciting too, especially if we know we're going to get a medal.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's been really good to talk.
Thank you very much, Dan.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Thank you to everyone who's watched or listened to Sportscast Jersey. Another episode is coming soon.